Let's click that button.
Yeah, button's depressed.
Alrighty, quiet on the set.
All right. Quiet on the set. You're listening to WRFB Radio Free Britannia. Coming to you live from Deltona, Florida. With two idiots misinterpreting the news so you don't have to. Lunch with Laz and Jack.
Greetings, everybody. This is Laz.
And this is Jack, and Tyrion's on my desk. And welcome to another edition of Lunch with Laz and Jack. And Kitty's doing weird things. Yeah. It's going to be awkward.
Doing all sorts of weird things. Man, you got some real
Yes.
light shine on that forehead today, I tell you what.
Hold on. Wait, there. Is that better?
Yeah, a little better. There you go. A little better. The hat's for, man. It's the hat's for. You know, the hat takes care of that.
I need to pull an Elon Musk and have like my hair removed from like the sides and back on top.
Hair club for men?
Elon didn't do hair club for men. He did something else.
You get a wig?
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw Elon Musk's hair when he worked at PayPal, right?
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of fake hair.
Yeah.
Don't know what kind.
Anyway, greetings and welcome to today's show. It is Thursday, April 13th, 2023 here inside and outside Shroud of the Avatar.
Yes.
And worked is a strong word for what he did at PayPal. Yeah, very, very good. Very cool. Did anybody happen to catch that interview he did the other day?
You mean that one where he said he bought Twitter because the court was going to force him to?
No, the one where a guy comes up and goes, "There's so much this, that, the other thing," and Elon goes, "Give me one example." And the guy couldn't give him one example of what the fuck he was talking about, and Elon like really shut this
Well,
reporter
the
down
the funny
because
part is like the guy was not prepared to do that.
you're having a sit down with fucking Elon Musk, okay? If you're gonna say and criticize and say that there's too much this or too much that, you should at least have done your homework and had some examples of why you're saying what you're saying. Not go, well,
Well,
there's too much of
you
this
do
on your
also
platform, you know, and then
you
not
also
have
do
an
realize that
example.
that guy was given very short notice before the interview.
Listen, I don't care how short notice of it is. You know, we have time to do some mild research even when we're live. For crying out loud! If you know,
Yeah. Well,
I
I
don't care
mean,
if you had an hour's
sit
notice.
down interview would have
Yeah.
been like, hey, let me go ahead and pull out my phone and pull up some examples for you.
The same thing that Twitter's engineers have repeated to Elon Musk. Yeah, absolutely. But the engineers, I'm sure,
Yeah.
had the proof. That's the difference there, Tina. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like everybody else is saying, "Here's the proof," and then Elon's sitting there saying, "No, no, it's not." It's kind of like how he says, like the number of users has gone up. It's like, and that he got rid of all the bots.
Yeah, that's not true.
It's like,
And you'll never get rid of all the bots. But
yeah, and
especially when
he
you
was gonna
leave
dump
API open. Yeah.
he was going to dump 1.5 billion accounts. It's like, where are these things?
Well, we know of one that got dumped with no cause or
Well,
no.
you got it back eventually.
No, I never got that account back. That was my fucking personal account.
Oh,
That was the one under my actual name that got banned. Everything else that comes under a different heading, like NBNN or not Shroud Marketplace, Shroud Music and WRFB, that actually have bots running on them, are all
I was going to
okay.
say,
My
when did you get
personal account.
access to the Shroud Marketplace account?
I don't know. Does Shroud Marketplace have a Twitter? I've access
Yeah,
to a Cynicist Twitter.
There is one, but it's been used like 3 times because it's like, realistically, who gives a shit about Twitter?
Yeah, well, the
Twit-
problem was this time the reporter called him out, and the reporter couldn't back up his story. So that's all.
Well,
I just thought it was funny.
yeah. Well, the other interview was that Twitter. I mean, Elon actually did say the reason that he bought Twitter was because the court was going to force him to.
I didn't see that. Anyway, enough about Elon. We've got some stuff to talk about here in Shroud of the Avatar.
We could also talk about how like Twitter is now part of X.
X.
Yes.
I have no clue.
Oh, yeah.
What is
or Elon
X?
trying to change the sign to, well, so before PayPal there was X.com.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's supposed to be his things. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the court was going to force him to because he entered into a contract that said he was going to buy it. Yes, exactly.
And here's our boy Manu again. You got to love this guy or this bot, whatever he is.
It's a bot.
That's a pretty interesting bot if it's putting all this information in there. Hold on.
It's a Chat GPT bot, is what it is, more than likely.
Let's see the replies today. Come on, where is it? Give it to me. Then I just click on it. How do I get this to come up? Why won't this one come up? Oh, here, I'll screenshot it so you can put it up here. Hold on a second. This is just actually I'll screenshot the whole thing with today's tweet, and we'll throw it in here. We'll throw the picture in here so people can actually see it.
Okay, that way we can bring this up. Excited for season 8 of Lunch with Lies and Jack, where
Well,
we
first
stay
off,
updated on
this
Richard
is
Garriott.
today's tweet there, so this is a reply to today's tweet. But yes,
Update on Richard Garriott, Catnip Games, and Shroud of the Avatar. Sir Richard Garriott is an impressive speaker and a role model for his modesty. Yeah, Manu is a chat GPT bot. Because
so
remember, how many tweets did that dude have?
yeah, he's got a bunch, but I'm
He
curious
had
as
over
to.
two.
Yeah, I know that.
He
But
had like
I'm
over
curious
a
how it
quarter of a million in
only
a few months.
tags at Richard Garriott, but it doesn't tag at Catnip Games or at Shroud of the Avatar like I did in my post, which I find,
Fine. Hold on. Let's see how many. 108. Let's see how many tweets this dude has today. Today, this guy has. Let's see. We're 256.8 thousand tweets
yeah.
in 10 months. Yes.
Yeah, very interesting to say the least, but I just get a kick out of it because I'm waiting to see Richard's reply, as Richard usually replies to them. See, Richard already liked today's tweet, which may be what triggered it. I don't know. Richard was the first one to actually like today's tweet right after it went out at 1 o'clock. So yeah, of course, always gracious to see Richard. Richard's a big fan and always tweets, retweets, likes our stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I should see if he'll come and join us. Thanks to Manu.
Yeah. That would be funny. And then we can ask him like all the fun questions like, so Richard, what are you
How's
doing
things
now
going on
that
Iron
you've
and Magic?
Yeah, what happened to Iron and Magic? What happened to this? What project are you working on now? What went wrong with Shroud of the Avatar?
Oh, we know the answers to that question.
Well, from we have our impression of what went wrong.
Yeah.
We do not have Richard's version.
Don't
of
lawyer
what
me,
went
bro.
wrong.
Speak to the lawyer. Oh, that's Star's. That's Star's answer.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. And why did it take so long to notify people that the game properties were sold to Chris? While Chris was the
That's a good
CEO.
question. Anyway,
Man, those are great questions.
they're all great questions.
Yes, yes. Hey, but speaking of Twitter, you know what hasn't been updated?
The Tweeterverse, yes, I was just looking at that. No new tweets out there. Yeah. Let's see. Catnip Games still hasn't tweeted since last year. Is that what it is?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Catnip Games still hasn't tweeted since
Hey,
November of last year.
you know what also hasn't been updated?
Ask a Dev.
That is correct. Hasn't been updated since January 26th, 2023.
Let's see. Has Atos logged into...
Oh. Ooh. The Atos is not one of my friends. Oh, wait. No, he is on my friends list. Where is he?
Still hasn't logged into the forum since January, because he's really heavily invested in seeing what his user base has got to say. So, yeah.
Don't worry.
Over 4
Guess
months.
when the last time he logged into the game was?
Oh, that's even funnier. Let's see.
7/15.
Was he
2022.
Well, as Chris or as one of his alts? Because he uses that alt all the time.
Which alt? The Frodo?
No, the other one.
Bilbo, Dildo, Dorkstar.
Anyway, let's get to some topics here.
The other one where he pretends to be a different GM? Yes.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some user interface, because there's been quite a couple topics out there that have come up with user interface decks and other stuff. That
So are we going to the greater availability of the utility glyphs?
That's going to be where we're going to start. We're going to start out with this one, because this has been a constant pain in a lot of backsides since day one. And I agree with, well, we'll get to it and then we'll get to the commentary.
The term utility bar by now is misleading, given the number of items and skills and spells which need to be placed in a slot. It's a necessity hotbar. That would be fine if there is some more efficient way of swapping out my fishing bait for my agricultural seeds, or my taming skills, or my potions of life magic and or favorite emotes. But in reality, I find myself avoiding certain activities because they involve opening a bunch of windows, dragging items and glyphs to the hotbar, and repeating the process when I finish to restore my regular configuration. The dream for me would be the ability to define multiple hotbars, each of which can be freely resized and moved around the UI in hidden, unhidden, and assigned hotkeys as the player wishes. That sounds like a lot of work for the devs, though, and it occurred to me that just being able to assign hotkeys to more actions would solve my issue as well. If I could bind red worms to control R and hoppers to control H or control shift F, I'd be a lot more motivated to fish a little when I happen to be near a body of water, because it won't disrupt my regular activities in any way. In B, if the latter functionality already exists and I just haven't found it, I'd appreciate any pointers. I still think multiple hotbars would be helpful from an accessibility point of view, even if they're limited to clickable icons without the additional features I listed.
Point of order is adding glyphs, not glyphs, but what was the word I'm looking for? Emotes to the hotbar is pointless when you have your own movable emote bar now that you can add to your screen. So why would you waste your utility bar for emotes when you have an emote hotbar? First off, but I'm with Bergen on this one.
Probably doesn't realize there's an emote bar now.
Well, that's his problem. He'll find that out, I'm sure, eventually. But actually, he should know, because if he knows that he can drag emotes to the bar, that came in when the hotbar was added. So it wasn't possible to drag emotes to the hotbar prior to adding that emote bar. So if he knows that he can drag them to the utility bar, he should know that the functionality was added to a new hotbar. If he just,
Or he just tried dragging and went, oh, cool.
Oh, yeah, good point.
You did stuff.
Yes, it was what? Tina saying yes, it was able to bring them to the hot bar before that. I don't believe so, Tina. Otherwise, people wouldn't have clamored for it so much. But
Dun, dun, dun.
moving on to Bergen, which is my feelings exactly.
In my opinion, each deck should also have a utility bar.
Amen to that. When you change your
Yes.
combat deck, the utility bar should change with it. Abso-freaking-lutely.
In my opinion, yes. Van Torian. I think they do optionally, though I'm not currently in game to check. I have people in other threads recommending that as a workaround, but switching combat decks to give me more utility bar options raises issues on its own.
No, it don't.
They do not. There is only one utility bar.
Which is correct. The
Yeah.
issue that he says would be raised by switching combat decks is very simple. You just duplicate your bar and then change it out and name it for what you're doing. You don't change your equipment. You keep the same equipment. Let's go back over here real quick to the hotbar settings. Is it here? No, it's here. Basically, if you want to just, oops, I didn't want to do that. You want to just, keep the hotbar you got. You just go to little gear there, and you copy the deck to another deck, and then you just modify the hotbar to, what you want for that deck, and call it by that. You don't have to dick with nothing. I don't see what the complications of that become. Anything for that, if there was such a way to modify additional utility bars. But moving right along.
Yeah. Harvesting and watering can be put in the combat bar.
You're
I have a
missing
deck
one.
farmer that I occasionally
You're
use for my
missing
tiny
one.
backyard. Oh, sorry. One thing that is necessary in and out of combat, and I'm grateful for, is on the utility bar is the light button, so I can raise my level in sun magic as well as see what I'm doing. For fishing, I just open my inventory in the corner and double click the bait as needed. Agriculture, yes, we need a specific bar for that one to set a space for seed, watering, and harvesting. If that option could be set on different decks, that would be a good thing. Possibly a deco deck for just moving things around and such. Harvesting and watering can be put in the combat bar. I have a deck farmer that I use occasionally for my tiny backyard garden where I see your farming in combat mode. Yes. Because that's a fantastic solution.
I did not know you could put that stuff in the combat bar. Now there's a solution.
Hi there, Lily.
Well, what about the rest of it? Can the rest of it be put into the combat bar?
No, you can't put seeds in the bar. And how did you not know that?
Oh, because I don't do a whole bunch of farming. I don't do any.
No, that's been in for a while. You can't put seeds
farming
in the bar, but harvest and water you can.
And I know you can put taming in the hot bar and in the combat bar. That one I do all the time is because when I'm out taming horses for to make them for sale, it's a lot easier to have them in the hot bar where I can have 4 and 5 glyphs instead of having to wait for the cooldown on the utility bar that only has the 1 glyph available, which is also a pain in the ass at times. And Maynard, we're talking about utility bar functionality and how it should probably be changed with the combat bar so that you have multiple utility bars like you have multiple combat bars. So really not much. And seeds are the thing that you really want. If you're a farmer type, yes, absolutely. But F. Bowler says,
this is overdue, like a library book that's never been returned. And Majoria, I agree, we do need something more, a place for those specific things that can be done in game, like agriculture, fishing, emotes. These need a dedicated bar or bars that don't interfere with our non-combat bar, which is for most is already full. I know for me, when I fish or deco or do agriculture, I remove things from my non-combat bar during that activity or replace them afterward. It's not a working system. Our non-combat bars, in my opinion, already contain things like our sprints, mounts, lights, buff, or two that can be done outside of combat. Our teleport scrolls to name somewhere. It is full, and it is not working for the game to have to keep taking off some of the necessary items.
The Maynard with the sub. 30 months. Thank
Yay.
you, Maynard.
Does
And
that
that's
mean
going
we're
to
gonna-
give Maynard the option. Are we going to continue with the
Yes.
nudes or are we going to go racing? You got a choice of races
And
between
marbles
marbles
or-
and nitro these days.
Yes. Some of those necessary items to place should be placed in a dedicated bar or just an extra utility bar. We do have the emote bar already, so you don't need your emotes there. My thoughts are if I could even be a bar placed next to the non-combat bar to always show whatever is easier so that it contains those few common emotes like, wait, we have an emote bar. The real question is, can I drag something that is not an emote onto the emote bar? Do I have a seed on me? How about a potion? Dun, 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 dun.
Well, tell the
Okay.
missus I said hello too. Maynard says, thank you, Laz. My wife said, tell Laz hi. What's up with that? The ladies love me. What can I tell you, Maynard? The ladies love
Wait
me.
a second. Tell Laz hi. Was she like hi, or was she like hi?
Hi.
Hi, how you doing? Huh?
Yeah, Maynard says, keeps doing the nudes. Okay.
Yeah, keep doing the doing the do.
Keep doing the do.
Yeah, so all in all, we're missing a place to put things that would make navigating our systems in the game less organized and more, and also less visual and seamless to do. I feel like it's an important ability for the game to have. It should not be clunky, but easy and seamless, and preferably always available. You know what? I still think UO had it right, where you could like bind actions to skills.
There was where I was going to go with this, where UO had not only that, but
or you could drag the skill out.
You weren't limited to a bar. You could take any spell out of your book and place it anywhere on your screen and have every single spell available to you. First off, yeah, that was one. The second was
bind it to keys.
Every single key on the keyboard was able to be key bound, and it was not just A B C D E. It was Alt A, Alt B, Control Alt A, Control Alt B, Control Shift Alt A, Control Shift Alt B. You had every single keyboard combination so that you could hotkey the living freaking daylights out of everything and anything. And that came standard. Unlike here, where if we go and pull up the, let's go pull up the interface, or is it controls? Which one is it? I think it's on the controls. Yeah, controls, key bindings. Key bindings seemed more of an afterthought. That later on they started adding, they started with the hotbar self and the hotbar discard and all that stuff. Then later on down here, I believe it's down here, was equipping your decks. And because people wanted to do that. So this was an afterthought all the way up to, let's see, what does the number go up to now? Holy shit. Equipped deck goes up to 48 decks that you can equip, which, why are we locking these specifically in giving those specific? Why don't you just make it so that you can add anything you want instead of specifically making it, equip deck, and doing that?
Well, that would be because the deck system.
Vesper's
Right.
answering your question in chat, Les.
What's that?
Vesper's answering you in chat.
That worked
That
in
worked in
UO.
because there's skill and stat caps. Hey, why don't we have those in the multiplayer version of Shroud? The offline version doesn't need those skill caps. There's no reason that every single person is a GM of everything. There was the idea originally of regional economies, and then also you'd have like player economies based off of, hey, this person's a fucking awesome crafter. You want to go to them. There is no real sense of community when everyone can GM
Yeah,
every
but
single skill.
I think that's totally off the mark, and again, off of what Vesper's saying. And I don't think Vesper's got it quite right either, personally. And again, no disrespect, not coming off, but okay, because there were skills and stat caps. No, see, they had a drop down menu, and you could do whatever you want. You want to create your own action? You created an action, you set a hotkey for it. You wanted a hotkey a spell, you'd have a drop down for it, create spell. There's no need for us to have 48 deck slots here where I'm not using a single one of these, and these keybind slots could be used for something more efficient than deck spells. And again, these first 12 were automatically assigned, just so you know. But the utility bar, nonetheless, could be done exactly like the deck system. If I can have 48 decks, I should have a utility hotbar that matches that. Um, and again, all these things that are in here, the toggle the lot list, toggle the disable chat window, dismount, assist character. What does assist character do? Does assist character even work? First off, does assist character even
the
work?
fun part is we know every single thing is supposedly tracked. It would be hilarious to actually see how frequently people use like the keyboard bindings for their non-combat bar or the hot bar self or the hot bar discard, as well as target party member 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay,
All
like
of those things. How frequently are they actually used?
now here's another one, okay? Because we just recently had the change in pets, but I'm looking here and we still got pet passive, pet defensive, pet aggressive, pet stop following, pet follow, pet attack, pet dismiss, pet teleport, pet stop attacking, pet patrol. But half of these just disappeared as options when, especially on the ones for patrol. Let's see, where's my cat? What do we have now? Fluffy now only has pick up, stay here, or patrol. So, the stay, the this, the that, are still in there on keybinds, even though they're no longer in use. But there's that's, one of the many things. These shouldn't be, let's list an item and then you can keybind to it. You should just have the functionality to keybind whatever it is you want, whether it be spells, whether it be actions, whether it be, the utility item. I want to do agriculture. Do my planting? Am I harvesting? Am I watering? Create an action for it. Am I spell casting? Am I mining? Am I whatever it is? It should just be again not the greatest because we've already got this already in place. But and yes, I know it was the butt of the hour just passed. We'll get to that in a second. But the point being is that everything should be modifiable, but more importantly so is that with the deck system, let's bring this back up. When I have the ability to put 48 combat decks, each one of those combat decks should come with the companion utility bar. We shouldn't just have the one utility bar that stays static across 48 combat decks. Because again, each combat deck is different. Each utility bar for each combat deck should be different. That's basically the point I think that people are getting at here. And I tend to agree with it. I agree even more with, again, Jack saying, like we had in UO. I should be able to just open up my book, and go to tailoring and go to clothing and take the glyph on open clothing and take the glyph and drag it out and put it on my desktop. And if that's what I wanted to make, coconut bra, I should just be able to click on that without having to go through.
Wouldn't that be going to your recipe book?
That's what I said. Open up my book and pull out the glyph that comes with, whatever it is. Didn't I just say that?
You said something close to that, but yeah.
If I wanted to go to my alchemy and I wanted to do crafting for, whether it be jewels, whether it be gems, whether it be deco, whether it be scrolls, I should be able to go pull out the scrolls, pull the scrolls out, put it on my desktop, and go up to the table and just be able to click that without,
Well,
and
so like remember that like the original premise of the deck system was not the charging of skills, because remember that came out 5 years after the deck system was in place.
We're
Was
gonna touch on that here in just a minute because that's
was
another topic.
actually related to the ability to combo, as well as, hey, you know what? There's going to be some sort of skill involved. But when
I'm
you've
pulling
got,
the butt of the hour, just so you know. So if you want to pull yours in the
I already
background,
did, and I already
okay.
reopened it. And
Okay.
I sent Tina his scroll, so his
Mom's
streamer
getting
member.
herself some bottles.
But the entire premise of the deck system has changed significantly through the 5 different revamps that the deck system has undergone. 5 different revamps of the deck system.
Well,
So it's one
like
where
the 20 different revamps of the AFK system, that didn't need to be messed with.
That was 7 different revamps of the AFK system.
I know.
So far.
I'm being facetious there. Yeah.
but 7 revamps of the AFK system,
Which there was nothing wrong with. Again, I mean, you ask me, and the using of the glyph system that Chris created, again, was just a totally bad idea. That's just my 2 cents. Some people love it. It's one of them things. You either love the deck system or you hate the deck system. I'm one of those people who hates the deck system with a passion. I believe that if I know the spell, I shouldn't have to wait for it to randomly come up in a fucking deck. I should be able to cast it whenever I have the power to cast it. I shouldn't wait for cooldown. If I can cast it and I have the ingredients, and I know the spell, I should be able to cast it.
I am a fan of opposing schools of magic, and that attenuation actually being relevant, to where it forces you to choose exactly which schools you're going to actually use and what your build is going to be like. And so if you actually went through and GM'd everything, you would actually be hurting yourself even more.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there. If you train death magic up all the way, you shouldn't be able to train healing magic at all.
Well,
or very, very, very limited, and vice versa. If you're a healer,
and if you did the both of them at the same time, it would be essentially as if you were a level 1 character casting those spells.
Canceling each other out, basically.
Exactly. So that attunement cancels each other out. But that system was dropped a long time ago because Chris couldn't get the math right. Shroud math. The entire deck system at this point just needs to be dropped due to the shitty implementation.
Let's move on to one of the other topics here. We have start glyph combos, or we have deck building, fine grained control over equipment swapping. Which one do you want to go to?
Let's go with the deck building, fine grained control over equipment.
Yeah, so let's delve into this one. Also from Valeditorium. Yeah.
Vine-torian. I found an old thread dealing with this topic, which appears to have been closed without a resolution. As someone who periodically replaces most or all of my gear, it's annoying to suddenly find myself naked and armed because I forgot to update the equipment associated with a deck. It's a problem for my tamer who might accidentally replace a valuable pet because her necklace got swapped out, or unexpectedly be unable to summon because her necklace was dropped into the inventory. The thread linked pretty well covers the key points around this topic. To summarize, players may want some slots to remain equipped items when they switch to a deck. Players may want some slots to be empty when they switch to a particular deck. Both of the above options would need to be supported for each slot independently. The deck swapping delay should logically be proportionate to the number of items which are replaced, included for completeness, although I believe this is already the case. Extending the first 2 bullet points, it would be good if we could set the default behavior when items associated with the deck are unavailable. Do we want slots to be emptied, current behavior, or retain whatever is currently equipped in those slots? Both options would have merit in different circumstances. If my character always wears heavy armor, I will want to keep it equipped. But if I often switch between heavy and light armor decks, or between melee and magic, I prefer not to.
Yeah, now I think a lot of what he's bringing, let's continue with the commentary first, because I think that everything he's referring to is available. He just doesn't get the, or maybe he just doesn't understand that all he's got to do is dress the character, use equipment, and, or duplicate, uh, you know. Yeah, exactly, Vesper. Exactly what I'm getting at. His premise with this is flawed. Absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah.
If you no longer have gear that linked, that leaves what you have equipped in that slot, or again, coming back over here and bringing up the equipment. Again, if I want to just, why am I keep picking that stuff up when I do that? If I want to just keep the, what's on this build, and all you got to do is duplicate the build, copy the deck, then go down to your copy of it, and look at it, modify it, and just swap out the equipment you want on your person, and then just tell it to link that equipment that you've got, and it's always there. You can clear it. You can use the current equipment. So I think he's a bit flawed in his thinking there overall, because everything I think he said is not only possible, but it's built right into the system. It just takes a little work to figure out, or if you haven't explored it enough.
Well,
and Tina says, you're missing part of the point, Vesper. I can't set unchanged. Explain, Tina.
So, okay. So look at my show clothes, Laz.
Yeah.
Okay. So here I am wearing my hunting gear, right? Bring up my character slot, my character sheet.
Examine. Yeah.
Okay. What if I wanted to keep my rings on and my and my belt on, right?
Right.
When I swap to my show clothes, all of those are wiped out.
Only because you've set them to wear different things.
But what he's wanting to do, so go into like your deck for your show clothes, modify that. What he's wanting to say is where it has the linked equipment for the other slots would be the ability to say, hey, leave whatever's on, or always leave this slot empty.
Well, again,
that's what he's wanting to do, so that way he doesn't have to sit there and remember, hey, I switched this deck.
Right, but exactly what I just did. I took the deck that I was working with, which was what I call Laz Town Dragon, because my purple dragon in outfit. Okay, and so if I want to keep all that equipment, I just made a duplicate of that, and then I can change out the modifications by hitting Modify Deck and changing whatever it is I want modified in that deck on my body and the deck itself, and save those linked equipment the way I want it. So you carry over the same thing. I mean, actually, I do that here in. Hold on, let's go ahead and do this here. I'm going to do done.
He wants a lot of variety of builds because he's
Well,
probably one of
again,
those characters that has a DM
I
in
have
everything and
my
wants to
mage
optimize his
I have
build.
my mage bow with chain heavy armor, which is one build. I have my mage with the bow with the tamed. I have my mage with the bow with mining, and each one carries my equipment over exactly the way I want it, except it changes. Like I have one which is a dagger instead of the bow. I have one with no dagger, so if I want that, so I don't see, it just if you want to, as he calls it, fine grain control. This is as fine grained as you get. You can specify exactly what you want on those decks, carrying over what you want. And if you want it empty, just leave it empty and then set that on that deck build. I mean, I don't see what his problem is here.
So Laz, remember, you have extra deck slots. I mean, what you're advocating for is like 150 deck slots.
Actually,
and each of them being used.
I just used the 14th deck slot, which and one of them is a test. Actually, I'm truly only using. Let me go ahead and delete these two that I'm not using because I barely used a dozen, and this one I don't even use. Yeah, I have 12 actual decks which are in here, and 50% of them I hardly ever use.
Hold on. I can actually go through and delete all of mine but 2.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, most of these were just, I was playing around with stuff. I mean, I got my fishing build, which puts on my fishing equipment. I have my tux build, which is my formal wear. I have my regular and show. Then I have my beach build, which is me with my bunny ears and bunny slippers. I have my cowbell build where I'm wearing, the cowbell and all that stuff. But most of my decks are being used for costumes, not even for functionality. Okay.
As Tina points out, so you're going to defend an awful user interface. Is it any wonder we're not growing? But then you have to have an unnecessary number of decks. It's awkward and a bad user interface.
Well, again, and and Vesper does say it's clunky, but you can do it, which is
it's bad user experience.
Yeah, and again, Vesper also points out if you no longer have gear that was linked, if he changes out his gear, that leaves what you have equipped. Yeah, it becomes that's his own fault for selling or trading out his gear that he doesn't update his shit. That's just my 2 cents on that one. But let's get into other commentary on this, what other people have to say about it.
Well, the next stuff is talking about taming necklaces, and that if your pet is out when you're swapping decks,
conjure a dragon. Come on.
The danger of doing that accidentally is lessened by the current rules. You can't swap out a necklace while your pet is summoned, and you can't swap out a necklace while in combat mode. And even if the necklace gets swapped out by swapping to a deck you created yourself, it's safely stored in your inventory. So emphasizing that it's a valuable pet is meaningless, as you don't lose neither necklace nor pet by swapping decks.
And there's also locking it to your inventory. I think that gets brought up here.
You can't summon if it's locked.
I don't think you can summon a horse when it's locked, but your other pets you can.
Or you cannot tame into a necklace that's locked to inventory. If the pet is already out when swapping decks, the necklace won't be swapped. That's absolutely true. I'm not so sure about a necklace getting swapped while in combat mode, not with the pet not already summoned. I'm pretty sure that if the pet is absent, the necklace will be swapped if it's not associated with the target deck. Can't get in game right now to verify, but that's what has caught me in the past. Um, spoiler, not relevant to the wish, but to elaborate on the scenario, I was thinking of the taming necklace. And alley-oop with the can't tame into a necklace that's already locked to inventory. If you have a pet you want to keep, you should lock it like the rest of your gear.
Absolutely. The locked usage is only I believe refers to mounts. You can't mount when it's locked. I thought we fixed that too.
Shroud math, man. I don't know. I don't tame. Sound
You don't,
advice, although
you
a lot
don't
of my
need to
tames are
tame to
intended
ride
to
a
go over.
horse.
Shit, you don't need to. You don't need to ride a horse to get horse skills.
Yeah, another fallacy in our skill system.
Yeah. You can swing a sword and gain intelligence. Yeah, skill systems. Let's see. Ooh, streamers growth. I wonder if that's an account that's going to get banned. Key point being, I want to save them for something better and accidentally not replace them with something worse. I can certainly avoid risk by investing more time and attention into making sure I have everything unlocked at the appropriate time. Just as I could check the equipment associated with all my decks before each play session, but I typically play in short bursts and don't want to spend too much time checking every detail of my build all the time. And to clarify, this thread isn't specifically about taming necklaces. I'd hate to lose focus on the actual request by focusing on that one example.
Yeah, and again, taming necklaces, and Tina's point, and the other point is that I have more decks than the other guy. What is it that tells you? Is it a subscription that allows you to get more decks?
Subscription gets you more.
Up to 48. So I think the limit was 36 by itself with no subscriptions, right? How many slots do you have available? Let me ask you that because you don't subscribe.
I don't know. I only have 3 slots now, or three deck slots.
Well,
now.
then, you know, create a few.
New deck, done. New deck, done. New deck, done.
That's right, Bugs Eye. And Owl said. Talk about somebody I haven't seen in a while. Or maybe Vesper could answer that for us without us having to sit here and
dick with it.
Dick with it, yeah.
I mean, realistically, it's like, why so many fucking decks? It's like, really, the number of decks is fucking.
Vesper says 24 without a sub, 48 with a sub. Okay, that would make more sense. You double it. Yeah.
Still, that is just way too much fucking stupid shit.
I've always said that nobody should need more than the dozen decks that I'm using to begin with. You know, I mean, that's just my, you know, that goes back to being able to GM everything and Vesper says he uses 30 and they're all key bound. Why do you need 30? Are they all actually combat decks, or are they all or are they a mixture of combat decks and costume changes? So let me ask you that, Vesper. I'm going to say about half and half. All combat, really. I don't see why somebody needs 30 combat decks. That's just
well, that's
me.
because he GMs everything.
Well, again, I play an archer. I'm an archer. Why do I need 30 combat decks for, you know, I have my armor, I have my archery equipment, I have my rings, I have my necklaces. Why do I need, you know? Well, yeah, again, because he does blades, poles, archery. Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question, Vespers. And you brought this up earlier, which was because in UO they had a limit. Do you think we should have a skill limit in this game to make the game a little bit more difficult to keep people from being able to do everything? Because I believe that you know, the caps allow people to actually interact more with others. There used to be people lined up at the blacksmith forge to get their
Yeah.
equipment repaired, because the only way to get your equipment repaired was to go to a blacksmith. And if you weren't a blacksmith, you had to A, trust that guy not to screw your equipment up or steal your equipment when you handed it over to him. And B, you had to rely on them to actually do that. Um, because you had a limit to your skills. The buff deck was the use case for me, says Tina. Yeah. And Vesper says, I think it should have been limited, but doing so now isn't feasible.
No,
Why
it's still
why isn't
feasible.
that? It's still feasible.
Remember what 5 years ago when Chris was like, "I'm going to start pulling off all the band-aids."
Yeah.
You have to think of, you know what? There is realistically a low player population. Part of that is due to lack of in-game content, lack of everything else. We have people with 300 plus GMs. Every single skill is GM'd.
Plus,
Many of them 140, 160-ish. So it's like we haven't pulled a single Band-Aid, and the fix is not to sit there and incessantly tweak the math. The number of times that the skill math has been tweaked, it was probably like 30, 40 releases.
yeah.
That is not fixed combat.
See,
You
now
have to look at other things.
I like Maynard's train of thought here. Maynard says, I think we need caps, and each episode would raise the cap, and that would make sense.
Yeah.
Ask air archers if band-aids were pulled.
You're really thinking, I tweaked this little bit of math and I fixed combat. I made everything balanced. I'm sorry to say, but when people can go out and one hit a dragon
with a bow and arrow,
that's a fucking problem. We have it on video, people doing that. People going out and
7,000 plus points with a single bow and arrow shot, one hitting a dragon. You think that's a little out of balance? I do.
Not only that, it's like you have to look at the enemy AI. You have to look at the resistances. The solution that Chris did for everything was, you know what? I'm just going to give this thing 50,000 strength. That is
give it more hit points and not
solution.
Change the AI whatsoever. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, these are not solutions. That does not make exciting gameplay.
I'll give you the greatest case point in that one, which would probably be trolls. Once you know what the troll strategy is, what his stomps are, what his rock throws are, I don't care how many points you give the troll. I know exactly what he's going to do, when he's going to do it, each and every single time, and it makes him very easy to defeat, whether he's got 50 hit points or he's got 500,000 hit points. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, there's no more difficulty when you don't change up the AI and make it a little smarter, or give them enhanced capabilities when they have more strength. But that's a whole topic for another show here. But speaking of topics for another show, time for us to wrap things up on this one. You guys got thoughts or comments, you can send them to us over here in Discord. You can comment on the Tweetiverse or on YouTube and send those thoughts to us as well. I kill trolls all the time. Nom, 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 nom. I used to go out to the troll bridge and kill trolls. I can solo trolls easily. The big guy out on that island, again, is it's possible. We've seen people do it, and again, we've seen a guy one hit a dragon, so with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, I thought it was a pole arm, but
No, I thought he was using a bow and arrow in that video, but regardless of whether it was a bow and arrow or a pole arm, one hit, you know, and the crystal sword can't even do that, for crying out loud.
Hey man, that does 600 damage. It's a one-hit kill on
It's
everything.
5,000 damage, but anyway, yeah. Anyway, time for us to wrap things up. Let's go ahead and pull the last giveaways of the day.
Hold on, I gotta do some work. Work.
And Mom taking both of the bottles today. Congratulations, Mom.
And the bottle is going to Tina again. Tina got both of mine.
Tina got both of yours. Mom got both of mine.
Yeah.
And then game keys.
Ooh, game keys. What are those?
Oops.
Someone's a wiener. Stymie, the Savage Furry. He's getting a copy of Arise! Sweet summer child! Arise! Okay, let's see. Whisper, Stymie, LLTS, and then Arise, a simple story. You shall arise.
And my mystery game key.
It's all
Black Sad Under the Skin is going to go out to the Maynard. Congratulations, the Maynard. You got yourself a copy of Black Sad Under the Skin on Steam. And of course, thank you all for joining us here each and every day. And of course, this past Wednesday, yesterday, was the last Wednesday we'll be off now that Jack's finished with his school, his classes. Maybe. And Black said
we're to do that
$39.99 going out to the Maynard. Good win. We'll be back with more tomorrow on Fruck Awesome Friday right here on NBNN. Till then, I'm Laz.
I'm Jack.
And we are NBNN. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye-bye.